Hello, my loves. Oh my god, the moment is here. I'm doing my next eyeshadow project video. So I was doing V palettes. I have Violet Voss, Oh Snap. I have a bunch from Viseart, and I do have my beautiful little Victoria Beckham Bordeaux, not Bordeaux, Tweed, sorry. Bordeaux is the eyeliner. So I'm just gonna get into it. Let's actually start. Oh, listen, if funny words come out of my mouth and it doesn't make sense, no it didn't. Oh Snap palette, little 10-pan palette. Look, packs a punch, right? She's small. 10 eyeshadows. I love that. Like, give me minis. What do these contain? I don't know. It doesn't actually say. They're probably just little 1 gram eyeshadows, to be honest. I didn't use this much. I used a little bit. I have used Violet Voss in the past. I'm going to swatch some of the mattes just to show you. I will put pictures up on the screen of what I have used and blah, blah, blah. I like this palette, but I don't need this palette. I just don't. I'm not going to reach for this really as like a on its own kind of palette. Like, I like the colors. I don't care for the black. That cream, maybe I could use that as like an eyeshadow primer setting color, but also I'm probably not. I'm just going to stick to my Inglot most likely. Let's be real. The shimmers are actually what made me go, no, these are just, you know, your run-of-the-mill formula. There's nothing super special here. I do like the red. I don't think the colors are bad. It's just that I can probably replicate this in other palettes that I'm most likely going to want to keep over this one, because it will have, you know, there'll be something a bit more unique in there. I do think that brown is very pretty. That is a matte with like a shimmer in it. The Violet Voss palette, I just don't see myself reaching for it. I want to start to be a little bit brutal and like get some of these palettes out of my life. So that one, the Oh Snap palette, is going. Victoria Beckham Tweed. So this is basically a little like a matte quad. There is some shimmer in these, but it's like not much of anything. So 4 shades. We've got a couple of like nudie brown colors. We've got a purple, and then we have a red. I know that these look like they don't swatch very well, and well, they don't swatch well. To be perfectly frank, that looks pretty shit, but they apply beautifully, and also they're not that like, you know, crazy intense pigmented color. Like, if I want to build it up, I can. If I want more, like if I'm trying to do a bit more of like a vampy night look or something, because we're going out for dinner, rather than I'm like, you know, going to run errands and I just want a soft wash, like I can have both. That's what I like. The Tweed palette stays because I love it. Moving on to Viseart. Okay, Viseart is hard. I'm just going to say right now, I didn't go too deep into my testing of these because I've actually used them quite like consistently over recent years, mostly because I feel very conflicted about them. I will tell you that I'm going to keep all of these, but I'm also about to talk some real shit about these palettes. So take that as you will. I'm sure a lot of you will listen to this and you'll be like, why don't you just get rid of them then? Just because I'm not ready to be perfectly frank. Will I eventually? Yeah, probably. But yeah, that day is not today. So this one is the Petite Pro Soleil. You guys will know that I love my Petite Pros. Did I have an orange one of these? Or a purple one? I feel like I had 2 of these. Maybe I got rid of one at some stage. Anyway, little 8-pan palette. I think packs a real punch. These are in fact 1 gram eyeshadow pans. I personally think that's all you need. I think going forward in my life, I will not physically pay money for eyeshadow palettes that have pans in them that contain more than 1 gram in each pan. I don't need that much. You might absolutely feel like you need more than that, but based on my usage and my experience, I don't need it. Now, this particular palette, I really love the color story. I think it is gorgeous, vibrant, fun. the colors are very like complementary and they work really well together. So I like it. And that was one of the big factors of me keeping it. I also, that purple shade is an absolute piece of shit. I will say that. It doesn't really apply that much better to the eyes either. The shimmery shade from Viseart is pretty meh. There's not too much fun, interesting, exciting stuff going on. I do quite like this one because it gives off a little bit of like an ultraviolet-ish like effect on the eye. And I mean, the shimmers are pretty enough. You know, this one's like a little peachy to gold, subtle duochrome, but they're not giving anything interesting. The mattes are also not like outstanding. There's I don't know, there's nothing super amazing about them. I wouldn't say they're overly pigmented. Sometimes they can get a bit skippy. You might need to like put in effort to make them look good, all that jazz. They're hit and miss. The reason why I'm keeping this one is simply because like, what the fuck is that size? Like, it is a perfect little mini palette. You know, if I want color, I can use this. I can make it work, but it's not like, you know, taking up a whole damn amount of space in my life, and I don't want it to, you know. So the palette wins so many more brownie points simply because of the compact size. But yeah, I think Viseart, like, I need to go back to the drawing board on their formula. To be fair, I haven't tried Viseart in many years. I think the most recent palette that I've tried is the La Marée palette. And I don't feel like anything has changed between like this and this, basically. So let's actually do La Marée. I bought this because I adored the color story. And I thought it was one of these, which is the edit palettes. This is not an edit palette. This is a 12 pan palette. There we go. And there is 18 grams across the board. I didn't use this one too much because I already know how I feel about it, basically. I love the purple and the red being in there. Purple and red are just, it's just a great combo. Also, these look much better, to be fair. There's some beautiful brown shades in there. You know, you've got like peachy warmer ones. You've got some like dark cool tones, so you can kind of take this, you know, as far as you need it. This shade here is very pretty, but I have to say it's very similar to the one that is in the Soleil palette. It's just a little bit more on the like muted rosy kind of side. And then like these shimmery shades, I'm not going to swatch the whole palette. This is, you know, it's kind of boring. I do like this gold. I think it's like it reminds me of like a sunflowery kind of gold shade. So this one I like enough. I like it more for the color story. I think it's a bit more diverse in what it offers, and it's the kind of thing where, you know, if I was doing an emergency pack to go away and I just wanted something that I knew was gonna like survive the plane trip and you know, being shoved in a bag without too much care, I would happily take any of my Viseart palettes because they're quite sturdy, which is fantastic. And the La Marée is so wearable, and again, you know, there's color in there when I want color, if I need it for any particular reason. There's all those beautiful boring browns, and there's a nice shimmery shade to just pop over the lid. Okay, let's move on to the Spritz Edit. So this is another 12 pan palette. Maybe we'll do one of these just so you can see the comparison there. So these are the 1 gram eyeshadow pans. It's my preference. The smaller, the better. So this one is very nude. You can see lots of nude shades in here. There's some taupes, and then it pops, or the pop is like, you know, a corally spritzy shade, I suppose. You've got a matte and a really sad, pathetic satin. So that's your sad, pathetic satin. Doesn't have much going on. And this is your matte, which is, look, why did they do this? I don't know. it didn't need to be like this. The redundancy is pretty, like, I mean, yeah, you can see differences, but when these colors are on the eye, either next to each other or with other colors, the redundancy is redundant-ing. And then the rest is like, I mean, it's nude, it's brown, it's boring. I'll swatch a couple of them, but might try and focus mostly on the shimmers. You've all seen a boring nude, and I don't mind a boring nude. This one here is this shade, and it is a satin with a little bit of a like silverish shimmer to it. You could use that as an interesting highlight around your face, just saying. What the fuck is that? I have to say, like, some of these do go on better, but oh god, you wouldn't know it, would you? This one here that I've just swatched is that one, which is like their metallic sparkly formula. I do think that that one is very pretty and I like it very much. And then let's also just swatch a couple more. So it's very like gold and nude and boring and brown, and then you've got two of this. Go off, Viseart. I don't know if anyone's listening anymore, but go off. Anyway, keeping that one as well. Some of you are probably wondering, like, the fuck, why are you doing this? Honestly, when it came to the Viseart palettes, like, I just couldn't choose, and it was like, get rid of them all or just keep them and move on with your life. And honestly, I chose the road of least resistance because I just don't really have the brain power for it, and I didn't want to get rid of them and regret it, because I have that feeling with some things from my past, particularly palettes, and I wonder, like, oh, now I know I've obviously gotten rid of it because it's not here, but did I leave it back at home in Melbourne in like my sentimental pile? I don't know. There's that. I'm trying to make, you know, smart decisions so I don't have to have that regret. This one here is the Paris Edit. Again, we're talking 12 pans, 12 grams. This one is a like dusty, violety, purple, cool toned. Not a whole lot of usage from this one, but I do like the colors. We'll swatch some of these mattes. I think they're really nice. This one is like a pretty sort of sparkly metallic, and then I feel like I just dragged that across my chin accidentally. This one is, this reminds me a little bit of super old school Kat Von D or KVD Beauty. It was Kat Von D back in the day. Thunderstruck, where it's sort of like a white translucent base, depending on how much you put on, with this like goldy yellow flash. I think Thunderstruck had a little bit more of like orange hints to it as well, which made it pretty fucking unique. But it's, ugh, I'm dropping stuff. It just reminds me of that a little bit. It's not a dupe, it's not the same. I'll swatch these guys. So these are all shimmers in the palette. You do have this gunmetal grey kind of color. It looks quite dark blue in the palette-ish, like a cool tone dark blue, but I feel like it comes off pretty gunmetal grey. And then, like, just why? Bah, sad. Depression. I just feel like satin eyeshadows, I don't think they were really ever the most popular formula. Like, when these palettes were coming to market, right? Satin eyeshadows weren't what was trendy. I do understand that Viseart positions themselves as a professional makeup brand, but also they were pumping out the releases based on like a consumer market, not a professional market. They did have a lot of nice, cute little color stories, but I think where they really lacked was just sort of leaning hard into, we want consumer business, we want consumer money, we want to sell or we want to release like, you know, 6 to 8 different palettes over a year, potentially more, and have people buy potentially all of them. And I feel like they didn't lean into what was super, super trendy. And I think if they did, these potentially would have withstood the test of makeup time for a bit longer. I think where Viseart did really well was having these tiny little like compact palettes, ones where you can like pop out the shades, mix and match them. I think people got really caught up in that. They also did sensational images of like swatches and things that made them look really, really good, but like they didn't necessarily translate that way on the eye. So yeah, I don't think, look, Viseart is not really on my radar anymore. You know, if for some reason it came to my attention that they were like, yo, we've like revamped our eyeshadows, we are reformulating and kind of, you know, bringing some new interesting formulas to the market, or like new for us, new for what we typically offer, then I'd be listening. But yeah, as it stands now, like I don't consider Viseart a brand in terms of eyeshadows that is like on my radar. It just is what it is. And I know, again, you're probably hearing lots of negative things at the moment. You're like, why are you keeping them? But I've already explained, like sometimes when you're minimizing a huge collection and going from like, I had a shopping problem, like a makeup buying problem, to I'm sorting myself out, like you can't just throw everything away. You have to be really mindful about it. And you have to be able to identify where you might go, hang on, I might, like, this might kind of fuck me up a little bit. Areas like my eyeshadow palette, like I mentioned before, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, where is XYZ? Like, I know I had that. So I try to be careful when I'm recognizing that happening to me, because I don't want to relapse. Like, it's very easy for me to be like, oh, this palette that I decluttered, I missed it. Maybe I will try and like go and find a dupe, or it's still available, so I'll repurchase it. Like, that's not the point. The point is sort of like getting rid of things when you're 100% ready to get rid of them. And also because I'm kind of in like buying phase again, you know, I've been buying skincare, little bit of makeup, and I certainly still have makeup purchases on my wish list. Like, I'm trying to be really restrained and just not go ham, you know? And I'm scared if I get rid of too much too soon, then I'm gonna make excuses for doing that. So the Viseart palettes stay. Victoria Beckham stays, and Violet Voss goes because I don't want it. I know I don't want it, and that's a good feeling. Will Viseart go in the future? Yes, most likely. Most likely they will, but it's not right now. I am also going to chat to you guys about the last palettes. I'm pretty sure these are the last ones that I need to test. There is 4 here. These are going to be W and Z. I have a Wet n Wild quad. This is the Bed of Roses. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get rid of that for the sake of like sentimentality. I have the What's Up Beauty palette. This one is what was it called? Dragon Eye. This is gorge. Absolutely stunning. See, you can't tell me that brands like Viseart outlive amazing stuff like this. Like, what is that? They're all multi-chromes. Like this guy here, green to purple, stunner. Gotta get with the times, babe. And to be fair, I feel like this was the times when Viseart was releasing palettes. So, you know, we still saw multi-chromes, duochromes back then. There's some in their palettes. They're just few and far between. And finally, I have 2 palettes from Zoeva. So I have Caramel Melange, which is this one here, and I have the Queen's Guard palette. Look, straight up, Queen's Guard even if I don't keep it in my like stash, I'm not getting rid of it. I bought this purely because I loved the Queen. Still do. All right, that's it. I'm going. The next one we'll wrap it up. We will talk about the palettes that I've just gone over, what I'm keeping, what I'm getting rid of. I will also go over the final numbers in my drawers, and then after that video, and I'll probably film that video, you know, while I'm working on these eyeshadows, so it will go up straight after as like the next video. I'm gonna go through all of my eyeshadow palettes and reassess, and maybe I will get rid of some more, maybe I won't, I don't know, but it remains to be seen. I'm looking forward to it. Guys, I'm so glad that this is like done. I am going to take a little bit of a break from eyeshadows, and I think next year when I am doing Project Pan, I might bring in some singles or something. I haven't decided yet. I've got ideas, but will it be its own project? Will it just be included in Project Pan? I don't know. I'll decide. But I need a break. And I'm so glad that we are on the final 4 palettes. All right, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to my channel members and all of you for joining me today, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.